Let me tell you a story. Years ago, a young team leader, I'll call him Adam, landed his first management role. He walked into the office confident, armed with a shiny new title and a corner desk. He thought, now people will listen. They didn't. He gave orders, scheduled meetings, and followed procedures. But something was missing. His team did the bare minimum. Morale was low. And one day, after yet another meeting that felt like talking to a wall, he asked himself the question no one wants to ask. Am I really leading, or am I just managing? That's when he found this book. Welcome to the Leadership Code, your trusted space for personal growth, leadership mastery, and meaningful transformation. Today we're diving into the 5 Levels of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. A book that doesn't just teach leadership, it walks us through it, level by level, like a ladder anyone can climb, if they're willing to grow. John C. Maxwell isn't just a best-selling author. He's the mentor behind millions of leaders around the world. He's spoken in over 160 countries, trained Fortune 500 CEOs, military generals, pastors, and even heads of state. And this book? It's one of his most practical, timeless frameworks. The idea is simple, but powerful. Leadership isn't a one-time achievement. It's a process, a journey. And the 5 levels he outlines, position, permission, production, people development, and pinnacle, show exactly how to move from being the boss to becoming the leader people choose to follow. If you're the kind of person who believes leadership starts with self-growth, and you're ready to level up, subscribe to the Leadership Code. We break down the most impactful leadership books and ideas every single week. No fluff, just wisdom you can use. And don't forget to hit that bell icon, because trust me, what's coming next? It's going to shift the way you think about influence forever. Chapter 1. Position, the starting point of leadership. Let's get real for a second. Just because you have the title doesn't mean you have the influence. You can have the corner office, the nameplate, the business card with manager printed in bold, but none of that means people are actually following you. They might obey you, but they're not buying into you. Here's the thing. Leadership always starts with a position, but it can't stop there. This first level, it's called position. It's where most leaders begin, but it's also where too many get stuck. Level 1 leadership is simple. People follow you because they have to. It's leadership by title. It's when your authority is tied to your job description, not your character, your relationships, or your results. You tell someone what to do, and they do it. Not because they trust you, not because they're inspired, but because that's what the organization chart says. Now don't get this twisted. Having the position is a start. You've been given a platform. But here's what John Maxwell wants us to understand. A title might give you a head start, but it won't get you to the finish line. There's a powerful example in the book. A manager at a department store. Let's call her Susan. She had the position, but she ruled with rules, not relationships. She thought being the boss meant barking orders. She didn't listen, didn't coach, didn't connect. Her team followed instructions, but morale tanked. Turnover spiked. Performance slid. Eventually, corporate took notice. And Susan? She was replaced. Maxwell uses this story to drive home a truth. Position is a poor substitute for influence. When leadership is based only on authority, it becomes cold, mechanical, temporary. People will give you their hands, but never their hearts. Friends, if you're in a leadership role right now, ask yourself, are people following me because they have to, or because they want to? That question is your mirror. If the answer leans toward have to, don't panic. That's normal at level 1. But it's also your call to grow. Start investing in people. Build trust. Show up consistently. Because here's the good news. Leadership is a ladder, and this is just the first rung. So here's what I want to leave you with. If level 1 is all about authority, what happens when you start leading with relationship? What shifts when people follow you? Not because they must, but because they want to. That's where we're headed next. In Chapter 2, we climb to permission, the level where influence truly begins. I'll see you there. Chapter 2. Permission. You have to connect to lead. Think about the best boss you ever had. Not the smartest. Not the one with the biggest office. The one who made you feel seen, heard, valued. The one who didn't just manage your tasks, but connected with your heart. That's level 2 leadership, and it is called permission. And it's a game changer. This is where leadership starts to feel real. It's no longer about job titles. It's about relationships. John Maxwell puts it like this. At level 2, people follow you because they want to. Why? Because you've earned their trust. You've taken time to listen, to serve, to understand. You're no longer just a boss. You're someone they actually like working with. This level isn't about charisma, it's about care. And here's the surprising truth. The permission level isn't soft, it's strong. It creates buy-in, loyalty, momentum, because people who feel connected are people who lean in. Maxwell shares the story of Don Meyer, one of the winningest college basketball coaches in history. What made Meyer different? He didn't just coach players. He mentored people. He'd learn every player's background, their goals, their fears. He once wrote over 800 handwritten notes to his team and staff in a single season. Why? Because he understood that relationships are the foundation of influence. And guess what? His players didn't just play hard. They played for him. That's the power of level 2. So how do you lead with permission? You slow down and connect. You ask real questions and actually listen to the answers. You show people they matter more than the metrics. Let's be honest, it's easier to hide behind authority. But if you want lasting influence, you have to earn the right to lead. And that right comes from relationship. Here's what Maxwell says. You can like people without leading them, but you cannot lead people well without liking them. Let that sink in. So now that your people are willing to follow you, what happens when you start delivering results that make them believe in your leadership even more? That's where we go next. Level 3, production. It's time to move from connection to contribution. I'll meet you there. Chapter 3. Production. Results make you credible. Let's be real. People may like you at level 2, but if you're not getting results, that likability wears thin. Because in the end, people want to follow someone who can actually get things done. Level 3 is where leadership becomes visible. This is the level where your influence accelerates, because you're not just connecting anymore. You're delivering. In this chapter, we're stepping into level 3, production. This is the level where leadership moves from relational to results-based. People follow you now because you produce, consistently, clearly, and with impact. John Maxwell puts it straight. People follow you because of what you have done for the organization. At this level, your leadership creates momentum. Morale improves. Goals are achieved. Standards rise. And here's the key. Your results build trust. Because when your team sees you execute, they start to believe. This person doesn't just care about us. They know where we're going. Leadership becomes magnetic. You become the one who turns ideas into action. John Maxwell highlights Dan Cathy, the CEO of Chick-fil-A. Dan wasn't just a title holder. He was a hands-on, high-output leader. He built a leadership culture based on values and results. Dan didn't sit in a tower barking orders. He'd visit restaurants, mop floors, talk to employees, solve real problems. He led from the front, and performance followed. Chick-fil-A became known for excellence, consistency, and explosive growth. Not just because of systems, but because of a leader who showed up and produced. That's level 3 in action. Let's break this down. How do you grow at level 3? You stop managing and start leading with clarity. You set goals, track progress, solve problems. You model the work ethic you expect from others. And most importantly, you multiply wins, because every result you achieve increases your influence. It creates credibility that no title or charm ever could. As Maxwell says, momentum is a leader's best friend, and momentum comes from production. So now you're producing. You've got results. People trust you. But what if your real legacy isn't what you do, but what you help others become? What if the next level isn't about success, but reproduction? That's what Chapter 4 is all about. Level 4, people development. Because leaders don't just build businesses. They build other leaders. Let's keep climbing. Friends, thanks for tuning in. If you're finding this helpful, consider subscribing to the Leadership Code, where we dive into ideas that help you lead with purpose and live with gratitude. Chapter 4. People Development. Leaders create leaders. Let me ask you something. If you stepped away from your team tomorrow, would anything fall apart? If the answer is yes, you're not done growing as a leader. Here's the truth. Real leaders don't just grow results, they grow people. They turn followers into leaders. That's level 4, people development. And it's where legacy begins. At this stage, your success isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about what you help others accomplish. Because leaders who only build products or profits might win in the short term. But leaders who build people, they win for life. John Maxwell says it like this: people follow you because of what you've done for them. Think about that. It's no longer about your position, your personality, or your performance. It's about your impact on their potential. When you invest in someone, really invest, you unlock something powerful. Loyalty, confidence, and growth that multiplies. You become the kind of leader people never forget, because you changed their lives. Maxwell tells the story of Linda Eggers, his longtime executive assistant. At first, she was just great at getting things done. But over the years, John began mentoring her, challenging her to grow beyond her role. He poured into her development, trusted her with leadership, and gave her space to rise. And she did. Linda eventually became a key decision-maker and an essential part of his leadership team. Her capacity expanded because someone believed in her before she believed in herself. That's level 4 leadership, seeing the leader in others and calling it out. So how do you operate at level 4? You stop being the star and start building the bench. You identify high potential people. You mentor, equip, encourage. You give responsibility before they're ready, then help them grow into it. Maxwell calls it the leadership lift. When you raise others, you lift the whole organization. And here's the payoff. When your people grow, your influence explodes. Because you're not just the leader anymore. You've become a leader of leaders. So here's the question. If level 4 is about growing others, what does it take to reach level 5? The rarest, most respected level of all. Where people follow you, not just for what you've done, but for who you are. That's what Chapter 5 is all about. The pinnacle, the top of the mountain. Let's finish strong. Chapter 5. The pinnacle. Respect is earned at the top. You can't demand respect. You have to earn it. Over time, through consistency, through character. And if you do it right, if you grow people, deliver results, build trust, and lead with heart, there's one final level very few ever reach. Level 5, the pinnacle. It's not given. It's not inherited. It's earned. This is the highest level of leadership John Maxwell describes, where influence becomes legacy. At this stage, people follow you because of who you are and what you represent. Not your title, not your power, your impact. Here's how Maxwell defines it. People follow you because of who you are and what you represent. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You've developed leaders, lifted organizations, and lived your values so deeply that people don't just admire your work. They aspire to become more like you. Pinnacle leaders don't just attract followers. They create movements. Maxwell points to Nelson Mandela as a classic level 5 leader. Mandela didn't just lead South Africa politically, he transformed it morally. He endured 27 years in prison and came out without bitterness. He forgave his captors. He unified a broken nation. And people didn't follow him because they had to. They followed him because of who he was. Mandela didn't just lead through power. He led through presence. His life was the message. That's level 5. So how do you move toward the pinnacle? You stay grounded. You keep growing. And most importantly, you build people who build people. Because here's the hard truth. Level 5 isn't something you reach by climbing harder. It's something you rise into by lifting others consistently, selflessly, and wisely. Maxwell reminds us, the higher you go, the more you must give up. Ego, control, credit. Pinnacle leaders give it away so others can rise. And in doing so, they become unforgettable. So let's recap. A level 1. You lead because of your position. A level 2. You lead through permission, relationships. A level 3. You prove yourself through production. A level 4. You multiply your influence by developing people. A level 5. You create a legacy through respect and representation. That's the full journey. And it's not a ladder you climb once. It's a life you live daily. So here's my final question to you. Which level are you leading from right now? And who are you helping climb to the next? Because that's what great leaders do. They climb, and they pull others up with them. Friends, thanks for listening. If you found value in this audiobook summary, please consider subscribing to the Leadership Code. We deliver powerful book summaries, timeless leadership insights, and life-changing discussions, designed to help you become the person and leader you're destined to be. Hit that subscribe button now, and join us on the journey of continuous growth and transformation. Until next time, lead with purpose and live with gratitude.